insults that you hear in the movies. It is exactly like that. It's the same things, and they're funny. Hey folks, SC Closer here. Friends call me Vic. I got another Vic's Sea Stories and Tall Tales episode for you today. I'm going to stick to the boot camp theme, and I'll talk a little bit about boot camp again. I don't remember if I talked about this before, but I had become a squad leader when I was in boot camp, and I'm pretty sure I described that before about how I think that happened. But there was only two of us. There were 6 squad leaders total, but there was only 2 of us that were squad leaders from the very beginning all the way through the end, and that was me and Shelly. That's because we were the only 2 that really didn't get in any kind of trouble and got fired. But I did have my share of issues, and I ended up doing some push-ups over that, and so a lot of times when you did something to get in a little minor trouble like that, you'd end up doing push-ups, or if it was a little more serious, they would do what they would call mash you, and you would do push-ups and sit-ups and sharks and stuff like that, different things, and they would do that until you were just exhausted, and they called it mashing you. That was no fun getting mashed. But I ended up doing a fair amount of push-ups when I was in there. And the thing that got me in trouble the most, believe it or not, was laughing, okay? And let me tell you why I was laughing. Now, I'm sure many of you, if not most of you, and maybe even all of you, have seen some of these movies in the past. Full Metal Jacket, Forrest Gump even. Any kind of movie that had boot camp scenes in it where Marines or sailors or sometimes Army, were in a boot camp or basic training type thing. With Forrest Gump, it was basic training. So they would yell at you and they would scream at you and they would insult you and they would say things. And what was it? R. Lee Ermey. He was a real Marine company commander from boot camp, and when they put him in the movies, any movie he was in, he would say these things, and they were real. It's things that they really said. Well, the Marines and the Navy are both Department of the Navy, and whereas the Marine boot camp is much more physically demanding than the Navy boot camp. They are similar in a lot of ways, and one of the ways that they are similar is how you got yelled at and demeaned and insulted and all that. And the things that you hear in the movies, the insults that you hear in the movies, it is exactly like that. It's the same things, and they're funny, and they're meant to be funny, okay? And some people took it personally. Not everybody, most people didn't, but some did, okay? I never took it personally. I knew that, I'm in boot camp. This is their job. They're supposed to be making it hard on me, but it's funny, And so I remember a time we were in the drill hall, and I don't know what I did. And the company commander's in my face. It was BM1 Stewart. And he's right up in my face and he's screaming at me and he's insulting me, he's saying all these things, but it's funny. And I'm sitting there listening to it, and I know everybody else is laughing, and maybe not out loud, but they're holding it in. And I start smirking, because I'm trying to hold the laugh back. And he's like, "What's so funny, recruit? What are you smirking for?" And he's yelling at me. And I'm thinking of myself, I'm like, here is a grown man, right? And he's getting paid to be in my face, because this is his job, and to insult me, in an effort to motivate me, not to make a mistake. And I just found it funny. And and it was hard for me not to laugh. And so when you start laughing, they tell you, drop, and you're doing push-ups. I had to do a lot of push-ups. But that was the main reason why I got in trouble. And I guess it was a good attitude to have. I'm sure most of my, or a good many of my shipmates had the same attitude. It's just like, it's just something that you have to get through. And they don't necessarily really mean these things. They're just trying to motivate you and, to train you to do better. And, that's a funny boot camp story. So if you know somebody that's going to boot camp, share that with them. Tell them to watch these videos. I tell a few things about boot camp and all, but don't let it get to you. I had a friend recently, a young fella. He went in the Marine Corps, and he asked me if I had any advice for him, and I told him basically the same thing. I said, don't take it personal. Anything they say, or or yell at you about, or any kind of insults, don't take it personally. Just realize that that's their job. They're trying to train you to be the best that you can be. They're trying to impress upon you something, and just take it for what it is, but don't take it personally. Enjoy it as much as you can. It is a life experience that not everybody gets to have, and you'll remember it fondly later. Just do what you need to do to get through it, and try to look around and enjoy it as much as you can while you're there. And that's the best advice I can give you.